Fully loaded with passengers, luggage, and jet fuel, a modern commercial airliner can easily weigh hundreds of tons. On the runway, it is a massive, stationary object bound to the Earth by gravity. Looking at the scale of these machines, the central mystery of aviation becomes clear. How does that much mass stay suspended miles above the ground? A common misconception is that jet engines work like rockets, providing a vertical blast of power to keep the plane in the sky. In reality, jet engines provide forward thrust parallel to the tarmac. They move the plane through the air, but they do not point toward the ground. Flight relies on the specific geometry of the wings and their interaction with the resulting airflow to generate the force needed to overcome gravity. This diagram illustrates the four forces of flight: thrust, drag, weight, and lift. On the horizontal axis, engine thrust provides the energy to overcome aerodynamic drag. Vertically, upward lift from the wings must exceed the downward pull of the plane's weight. The process begins when the engines throttle up. The aircraft accelerates rapidly down the runway, gaining the speed necessary to wake up the wing's aerodynamics. This forward motion is the prerequisite for flight. Without high-speed airflow over the wing surfaces, the aircraft remains anchored to the pavement. At takeoff speed, we have to look at the microscopic level, where the wing surface meets the oncoming air. Some explanations suggest that air molecules splitting at the front of the wing must meet at the back at the same time, but physics doesn't actually require this equal transit time. This diagram shows the pressure dynamic. The wing creates lower pressure on top and higher pressure underneath. Simultaneously, it deflects air downward, resulting in an upward reactive force. Increasing the angle of attack amplifies both these effects, causing lift to surge. Lift is the physical consequence of these interactions. When that upward force finally exceeds the weight of the aircraft, the wheels leave the ground. During a steady cruise, the aircraft reaches an equilibrium. Lift balances weight to maintain altitude, while thrust matches drag to maintain a constant speed. Moving through the air is different than driving on a road. A pilot has to steer by manipulating these fluid forces across 3 different axes. This schematic shows how ailerons control rolling. Moving them in opposite directions creates more lift on one side, banking the aircraft. This tilts the lift vector, redirecting a portion of the upward force horizontally to physically pull the plane through a turn. The elevators on the tail control the pitch of the nose, while the rudder on the vertical stabilizer manages yaw, or side-to-side rotation. Pilots navigate by changing the aircraft's geometry. They are constantly adjusting the way the plane meets the air to reshape its path through the sky. These same principles of airflow also define the limits of flight, specifically the point where a wing stops working. This diagram shows a stall. If the angle of attack becomes too steep, the smooth airflow detaches from the upper surface of the wing and becomes turbulent. Without that smooth flow, lift vanishes instantly. It's a common fear to imagine the aircraft falling straight down if the engines fail, but the physics of lift suggest otherwise. Without thrust, the plane becomes a glider. By sacrificing altitude to maintain forward airspeed, the pilot keeps air moving over the wings. Gravity provides the forward pull, and the wings continue to generate lift, allowing for a controlled descent toward a landing site. Landing involves a precise transition. The pilot must slow the aircraft for touchdown while preserving the airflow required to support its weight. To maintain lift at lower speeds, flaps extend from the back of the wing, increasing its surface area and giving it a deeper curve. This diagram shows the trade-off. While the extra curvature provides lift, it also creates intense drag. The wings essentially become massive air brakes that help the plane slow down. Upon touchdown, spoilers deploy on top of the wing to spoil the remaining lift, ensuring the aircraft's full weight settles onto the wheels for braking. The pilot has successfully used drag as a tool, breaking the aerodynamic efficiency of the machine to return it safely to the ground. From the initial takeoff roll to the final touchdown, every phase of flight is a masterclass in fluid dynamics. Thrust provides the motion, motion provides the airflow, and the wings translate that flow into the lift that keeps hundreds of tons of metal in the sky. The next time an airplane passes overhead, remember that its presence in the sky is the predictable result of these physical laws in action. That's how airplanes fly, explained simply by MechVerse.